am just absolutely honored and blessed to be in your presence today. Donna met with me, I guess, maybe 2 months ago, a month ago, to talk about this momentous occasion. I have notes somewhere around here of what she wanted me to talk about. Here they are, proof. November 15th. Notes. And it has taken me up until this morning to think, well, Father in heaven, what are we going to say today? Because what did I just learn? That the first message was we have to shift the power and resources and center race. Second message was embody radical imagination. Were y'all taking notes? This is for those of you who weren't. Then we're to focus on training, equity, and community resilience. And last year, why does it seem like we can't have nice things, and how do we prosper together? And so I'm going to pick up with this theme and say the way we're going to do this is to restore the middle class. The way we're going to do this is to restore the middle class. That's what we're going to do. And I have these, does anybody have those like a word of wisdom a day type thing? You get them at Target for less than, see, Debbie, thank you, Debbie, you with me. Well, today, Daniel R. Castro said, well, let me start with yesterday. Yesterday, the Chinese proverb was, tension is who you think you should be. Relaxation is who you are. Tension is who you think you should be. Relaxation is who you are. I'm here to say that you are brilliant, you are resilient, and you belong here. And you have a right to nice things and a right to prosper. Poverty is not who you be, therefore it is not who you are. Are you with me? And so, if one then is really brilliant, resilient, and prosperous, perhaps the one who said, as a person thinketh in their heart, so are. So maybe we need to think, starting with poverty, getting out of that, maybe it's an abundant mentality. So that's just to get the starting today. If we believe we're in lack, we operate in the lack mentality, then it shows up in what we're living in 101 years. Do you know what America was like in 1921? And we are here 101 years later with almost half of black and brown people not able to buy a home, educate the children, or own a business. I grew up in a time where I made more money, Carol Mitchell. I probably blew more money than children today will ever make. If I wanted to buy a car with cash, I could. If I wanted to buy a house, I could, because I grew up when there was a middle class. Overinflated, Speaker Jenkins, as it may be, because wages were way out of proportion, but nevertheless, is this the fruit of the seeds that, oh, by the way, let's just give it up for the East Side Community Garden. Oh, you can do better than that. Well, who was it? Was it Israel? Was that you? Who's the husband? Okay, don't work with me now. I can't be up here all morning. He said, plant seeds. Small seeds bring great rewards. Did y'all catch that? And so we sowed incredible seeds in my generation, but who do we sow them for? Obviously not this one. Must have been for ourselves. Always remember, Dr. J looks younger than she is. And so, oops, let's give it up to whoever just got the card. You could keep that. That's your prize for the day. I have my own pitch to ditch going on up in here. But anyway, but if we're really going to change the narrative and be about caring and resilient, then I really would want us to ponder from last year, those of you who heard Heather McGee, how do we prosper together, that really we begin to realize that there's more than enough for everyone. There's more than enough for everyone. And if indeed we do restore that middle class, that brings hope for people. The story goes like this. I grew up in upstate New York. Dad was one of the first black men to work at Eastman Kodak. He was an engineer. What are those things called now? CADs? Those computer-assisted design things. He did that with such precision by hand that they couldn't believe his brilliance. Dad passed away in 2018, and I realized why he made me promise before he died to keep the house. I'm thinking, now, why am I going to keep the house? Sell the house. It cost him everything to get the house. The house educated my brothers and me and helped my brother to become an entrepreneur. Middle class. Oh, we don't. This is. Well, clap if you go clap, clap. If you go clap, clap. But I wasn't telling you that to clap. I was telling you that because Dad provided hope. There was hope for education, hope for home ownership, and hope for entrepreneurship, apparently until it became our turn. Mr. Walton today said that we need to remove the barriers and address the root causes to poverty. I would submit that the first speaker had it right. We must call out a name, racism. When it became time for black and brown people to prosper educationally, in home ownership, and in entrepreneurship, suddenly the rules of the game changed. And here we are now, all unable to swim in the swimming pool because we'd rather just go ahead and shut the pool down than to have people who don't look like us in the pool. Go read Heather McGee, because I'm not trying to give the story away. And I really will try not to tell you about Wakanda Forever, but I can't promise. So if you haven't seen it, it might be shame on you. But here they have a gift. The Wakandans decided to share their gift. Wakanda Forever, baby. Share their vibranium with the world. And what happens? Somebody tries to steal it who's not black. They jack them up. Like, no, this is our stuff. You ain't trying to kill. You got to get past us to get our stuff. That's a whole nother story, but I'm not going to talk about that today. There's another group who also had vibranium, and when this other group tried to take the gift from the Wakandans, they fought on their behalf for the gift. Are you with me? Anybody paying attention? And you can imagine my shock and awe when I see the two groups fighting against each other as opposed to fighting against the group who's trying to take their gift. Is anybody with me? And so I believe what we might want to do to really operate in love and caring and resilience is to understand that we are in this together. That Dr. King was right, that what affects me directly affects all indirectly, because we are interconnected. John Donne says that we are part of the continent, a piece of the main. Therefore, do not sin to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. What that means is, you're going to clap, clap. So what that means is if we restore, Speaker Jenkins, this middle class through education opportunities, through home ownership, maybe we need to revise that Growth Management Act, but I digress, and really through entrepreneurship, maybe, just maybe, we will all rise together. Do you realize that we are at a historic time where there are infrastructure dollars coming from the federal government that can really be game changers for families? We are in a time where climate, the whole climate economy can be a whole industry that could be a game changer for so many people. Oh, well, let's go. We are in a time where we can make sure that no child is left behind. And I'm not trying to be political up in here, but we want to make sure that each and every child is indeed valued. Because I don't know about you, but I learned last century that childhood development is critical. And I can't even imagine what it would be like growing up separated from your family, separated from your loved ones, having to deal with people on platforms, having to wear masks all the time, can't get together for the holidays, can't bury your loved ones. What is that going to do to a generation? And those at the sound of my voice, those of us who've been blessed with love, blessed with family. Now, I know you want to cuss them out and kill them and they trying to get together for Thanksgiving, but I ain't on that right now. We still had family. We still had love, and we had an opportunity to get an education. We had an opportunity to own a home, and we had an opportunity to thrive and be the best that we could because we grew up in community. And for some of us, the community looked like this, Lyle. If I thought about acting up on my way home from school, my behind got beat before I got home. We didn't call that child abuse. We call that discipline, and we call that love. So we can learn respect for one another. We can learn to care for one another. To use a word from the South Africans, Ubuntu. We understand the interconnectedness of humanity, and it really does take a village to raise a child. That is an African proverb. And so, in closing, I don't even know how much time I have, Donna. I'll go, where am I? Oh, I have 15 more minutes. Let's go ahead and give it up for the clock. We're changing the narrative. We're going to disrupt poverty. Now, I might not be invited back, and that's okay, because I'm going to say what's on my heart. Lyle Quasim used to be the secretary of the Department of Social and Health Services. Let's just go ahead and give it up for him to have a black man leading one of it was probably the largest state agency at the time. And what they do now, currently, in the 21st century, is help people to be comfortable in poverty. Yes, I said that. They help people to be comfortable in poverty, but that is their statute, Speaker Jenkins. And there's tension now, many in that organization, in that agency, who really want to be about achieving economic stability, helping people to achieve economic mobility, such that they were leading the work on the Poverty Reduction Work Group. Dr. Lori Finks is here. You'll hear from her later. And they're beginning to think we need to do more in this state agency as opposed to just help people to be comfortable in poverty, but to help with economic stability and economic mobility. And maybe, just maybe, it is time for us to begin to retool and reframe state government to work in a way where we are helping to restore and rebuild this middle class. Right now, under our current governor's administration, do you know that if you have children who want to go to college, they can pretty much do so for free in our college success program? Did you know that? See, some said no, some said yes. The point is, though, The sad news is many students aren't enrolling in college. Can you imagine that, Lyle? Children aren't going to college. Why not? Hopelessness? Want to just make a fast buck? I don't know, but we have the opportunity. Let's go use that. And if we have a program in place like that, maybe some of the people who are on, I don't know what we call it today, we call it welfare when I was growing up in food stamps. It's TANF, thank you. On TANF, maybe perhaps they might want to go to college. Oh, you see, y'all not trying to work with me. Changing the narrative, coming out of that zero-sum game, because until we understand that helping me is not taking anything away from you, you shouldn't be mad at me for being a better citizen and not shooting you. Giving somebody $500 a month for a year, that's only what, $6,000? I don't even know, is that even minimum wage? I don't know. And why, we have a thing called people don't want to come to work anymore. Did y'all know about that? Is that going on out there? People are not trying to come to work anymore in the state. And I'm wondering if it's because people are tired. But, you know, I went to, where was it? Wendy's one day, and just bought, you know, just something basic, really. And it was $10. I said, excuse me. Look, do you work here? I said, can you afford to take your family to dinner here at Wendy's? He said, well, no. I get, you know, my meal free, but, you know, I can't really afford it. I said, well, how much money do you make? Don't answer that. I would imagine he made minimum wage. Now, I don't know about you, but what is minimum wage these days? Is it $14.49 an hour? Yes? How many of you knew that? Don't raise your hand. If you did not know what minimum wage was and are here to talk about from poverty to possibilities, I would ask you to go check yourself. Because what that tells me is we might not even have an understanding of what it means to be in poor. Have you ever been in poor? Has anybody here ever been poor? Has anyone ever been unemployed? Do you know I had the pleasure of being unemployed, Lyle, and got I said, well, let me go here and see how they treat people on food stamps. Well, I had to go have a conversation with the former secretary of DSHS, well after you, and not this one, to say, is this how you treat people? No, you got to be, poverty is not for the faint in heart. Anywho, I qualify for $16 for food assistance. I said, now what is a person going to be able to buy with $16 a month? Starch, everything that was organic was off the table. And why was it $16? Because I had a car that had broken down that I couldn't afford to have towed, but it was considered an asset, even though I couldn't drive it. But what that experience taught me is I understand now why people go and sell their body or buy drugs or don't pay gas or car insurance, because when the choice is eating or whatever, it's usually eating. And if you have children, I don't even know how they do it. If you haven't had the opportunity to be unemployed, go ahead and give your paycheck away for about 3 months. And then go ahead and live and see how that works for you. Then come back to the summit next year and let's talk about what the narrative might be then after you get an experience walking this planet as someone is poor. Are you with me? I'm going to give you a hand clap because I'm not playing up in here. Because otherwise what we're doing is telling people what to do when we have no empathy, no appreciation for what it means, the stress that is upon a person when they don't know where their next meal is coming from, the stress that is on a person when they don't know how they're going to live from day to day, and then you wonder why people are killing one another. This is why. I believe if we really, really are going to be a leader in this nation, continue to be the #1 place to live in the nation. Washington State is the #1 place to live. The way we're going to do that, if we really intentionally begin to rebuild that middle class, giving people hope for an education, hope for a home one day, hope for entrepreneurship or a good job, to be able to take care of themselves and their children for generations yet to come. This is Dr. J signing out. Peace out. I do this for Julian.